Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 40 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? What's up? It's the Director. Chargers fans, you guys ready for a 7-round Chargers mock draft? You know, this is really coming at the perfect time. A lot of things have changed in the last couple of weeks. San Francisco 49ers traded up to the number 3 spot, supposedly to pick up Mac Jones, whatever that's about. Atlanta Falcons are thinking about trading out of the number 4 spot. And then, of course, Sam Darnold got traded to the Carolina Panthers. All of this is going to shake up the draft a little bit in some way, some form. And I kind of wanted to go over today what the Chargers draft strategy should be, in my opinion. Kind of figure out what your guys' vibes are in the draft right now, what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree with some of the decisions I'm making here? It should be a good one. Now, before we do get started, guys, I got to set some ground rules, okay? As I say all the time, the computer's a goober, okay? They're going to leave some crazy talent on the board. For instance, maybe a Jamar Chase is still there at number 15. Or 13, very unlikely to happen, okay? So I'm going to just make one rule for this video. The Chargers can only pick a player within 5 spots of their spot, okay? So for example, pick number 13 right now, it's projected, Micah Parsons. The earliest guy we could get is probably a Justin Fields, okay? As much as I love Penei Sewell, again, just kind of riding the line of realism a little bit, he's probably not going to be there at 13. So that'll just kind of help us round out the computer gooberness a little bit with a little splash of realism. So we got a lot of players to go over, guys. Before we do get started, hit us up with a like and sub. If you do enjoy this content, the small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. The Chargers 7-round mock draft 2.0, 3.0, something like that. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one, guys. Let's just jump right into it. Lots of players to go over. Honestly, I'm going to want to talk about every single one of them. So let's see what the first couple of picks shake out as. And honestly, I think that could have been a smokescreen, right? The whole Mac Jones thing. I think they'd be crazy not to take Trey Lance at number 3. Leaves Mac Jones on the board for the Falcons. Maybe even a Justin Fields. Who, honestly, I'm higher on Justin Fields than I am Mac Jones at this point. But the Falcons, there have been rumors that they do maybe want to trade out of the number 4 spot. Is this something that the Chargers should consider? I'm going to say 100% yes. The Chargers should consider trading up to number 4 to grab Penei Sewell. However, if I'm going to compromise a little bit in this video, I do need to say the Chargers should be willing to trade up for Penei Sewell, but maybe not at the price the Falcons might be asking. Because at number 4, with the quarterback still on the board, Mac Jones, who's number 3 all of a sudden, Justin Fields, who's number 8, the price to go up to number 4 might be a little bit too high, right? So I'm saying my compromise here, guys, is that the Chargers should 100% consider trading up, but only if Penei Sewell falls past 5, which is a complete possibility at this point, in my opinion, too. Joe Burrow definitely wants Jamar Chase back with him. Kyle Pitts is an X-Factor guy that could be picked up in the top 5. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, guys. So I'm going to resume the draft. Hopefully, Penei Sewell does fall. If not, we have to go, shift gears a little bit. At this point, Kyle Pitts taken, Jalen Waddle, and Jamar Chase. All of a sudden, this is what I was talking about, guys. There's a possibility that Penei Sewell falls. Crazy, but it's 100% possible. And at this point, I was considering trading with the Dolphins, but I do think they traded back up to number 6 to maybe grab a wide receiver. That's what I'm thinking. Trading with the Lions is something I've gone over before, and you know what? We're going to try it. I'm going to see if we can push something through. Now, the best deal I can come up with right now that kind of feels okay to me is a 1st, 2nd, and 4th rounder in 2022 from the Chargers to pick up the number 7 spot from the Lions. How do you guys feel about that? Is it realistic? I don't know. We'd have to go check the draft chart, but this is something that they seem open to here on the Draft Network, so we're going to go ahead and push that through and go pick up ourselves a Penei Sewell. Let's let's have some fun with this, guys. I'm definitely very excited at the thought of even the possibility of grabbing Penei Sewell. I think we can make it happen. He fell past 5. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Penei Sewell, welcome to the Chargers. The blind side blocker for Justin Herbert once again, and the narrative is complete. How cool would that be, guys? When it really comes down to it, guys, Penei Sewell, and I've talked about this before, the difference between him and the next guy is pretty huge, at least in my opinion. Some people may not think that. Some people may think the best strategy for the Chargers in the 2021 draft is to stay put. I'm not saying that's a bad strategy. That's probably, honestly, the most logical strategy to go into this draft with. We could have really used that second-round pick this season, especially with the kind of vacancies we're looking at. But honestly, guys, the Chargers are going to be in a very unique position financially for the next couple of seasons. Maybe we do struggle a little bit with cornerback this year. There's still the option of signing a guy, maybe like Richard Sherman, if we have to for the 2021 season. But next season and the seasons to follow, we have the kind of money to compensate for any draft capital that we do trade away. So for instance, next season, the top tier cornerback on the market could be on the Chargers due to the events that took place in the draft this season. We had to forego getting our cornerback of the future in 2021 as far as a rookie. Let's go pick up the best vet that we can find, or maybe even a young guy in free agency in 2023. So in my opinion, though, guys, Penei Sewell, you have to feel incredible about having him on this squad. At round number 3, the Chargers do have 2 third-round picks, and that's part of the reason why I feel like we've got some extra capital. Maybe let's go after somebody here, okay? Now, we still do have some cornerbacks on the board, and honestly, there's one on here that still fits the Chargers very well. Let's see, where is he projected? Pick 80. So honestly, this does fit our rule of within 5 picks as far as, you know, if there's somebody were to fall. I still do think Tyson Campbell's a very serviceable guy you can put in there in the 2021 season, a developmental guy. And again, worst case scenario, maybe we have to go sign somebody next season. But again, the Chargers have the money to do that. So Tyson Campbell, to me, it's almost a no-brainer. I would maybe consider, you know, I don't know. I think he really is the one guy I want. So luckily for the Chargers, a cornerback was there with our first third-round pick. We do have Penei Sewell. That's going to be the crown jewel in this mock draft, guys. The Chargers were able to land Penei Sewell. I know a lot of people may not agree with what we had to give up to grab him, but we still got a Tyson Campbell in the 3rd round, I should say, and that should really help smooth over the Chargers' cornerback situation this year. Now, we did have one trade. We can still do another one if we want. We are being offered an extra 4th and 7th to move up so they can move up to the 3rd. No, that's not worth it to me. We would be moving down too much, and I think the Chargers definitely grab a difference maker here. Now, this is also pretty insane. This does fit top 5 right here, I should say, within 5 picks. Hamza Nasir-Ladin is still there. The Chargers really spent up to go grab their offensive guy. Do they want to focus more on defense with the remainder picks? Who else would I really consider? Elijah Griffin's still pretty good. Who else do we have down here as far as edge? Jordan Smith isn't bad. Hamilcar Rashed is definitely somebody I target all the time. You could even go interior offensive lineman with like an Aaron Banks. I'm really, really high on him too. But for me, again, it's a no-brainer. He falls within the margins of within 5 picks for me. Hamza Nasir-Ladin, I'll talk about him a little bit as we move on to our next pick. Nasir-Ladin is the kind of guy that you want on the Chargers specifically. And again, I've talked about this before. The Chargers have an incredible defense, but a lot of it leans on Derwin James. At least it did in the past. And the one thing that Derwin James struggles with is his health. Now, the reason I bring that up is because Hamza Nasir-Ladin is being pegged as like Derwin James 2.0. Definitely not as good as Derwin James, but you can use them in very, very similar ways. Additionally, the Chargers have an issue at free safety right now. If Hamza can hold down the strong safety role, especially out deep, we could put Derwin James out at free safety if we feel like that's a huge, huge weakness against any given opponent. So the kind of versatility and flexibility you're getting out of a Hamza Nasir-Ladin, I think, is 100% worth a 3rd round pick. Now, the rest of this draft, guys, here we are in the 4th round. There's some great talent still on the board. The 2 guys I desperately want are not within 5 picks of the Chargers pick right here. Pick number 118, Aleem McNeil and Tyler Shelvin. Both of those guys would fit the Chargers beautifully. Great nose tackles, spectacular against the run, but I want to follow my rule here. Who knows? Maybe they're there in the 4th round. More than likely, they're probably not. So in order to follow my rule here, I was talking about Hamilcar Rashed just a moment ago. I think he's great out of Oregon State. The Chargers, we need to start building a little bit in the direction of our brand new defense. We need help at pass rusher. At this point, I'm even asking myself, do we bring back a Melvin Ingram, because the Chargers pass rush needs a lot of help. We got to free Joey Bosa. In this instance, as far as best player available, again, he fits our mantra of within 5. We're going to take Hamilcar right here, man. It kind of fell in our lap. I would have taken Tyler Shelvin or Aleem McNeil over him, but we're trying to follow the rule of trying to make it a little bit more realistic. But still, Hamilcar Rashed, man, great prospect. Out of Oregon State. Odd front defensive scheme with hybrid principles. I really do think his flexibility fits what Brandon Staley's going to be looking for. And as far as a 4th round pick for the Chargers, I don't know if we could get any better than that, especially considering our needs right now. Now, the Chargers moving into round number 5, we still do have some holes, but at the same time, guys, you take a look at who we've picked up so far. The best left tackle in football as far as the this draft class, a very serviceable cornerback, great pickup in Hamza, and then another position of need in Hamilcar Rashed. At this point, I'm just looking for guys that kind of stick out to me, okay? And honestly, the guy's kind of staring me in the face once again. This wide receiver class, guys, and this is something I hope the Chargers maybe do take advantage of at some point, is stupid deep. This wide receiver class may be one of the better that we've seen in a long time, and there is one guy on the board right now that really fits what I think the Chargers need at this point, and the Chargers need speed. In the 5th round, I don't think you can ask for a better guy than Anthony Schwartz. There's other guys that I do consider, especially up here as far as like value and stuff like that. Marco Wilson, Caden Stearns, Kerry Vincent Jr. is also pretty solid. But I do think as far as value for what he would offer the Chargers, he would have a role with this team. I'm very high on Anthony Schwartz. I do expect him to be there, let's say, in the 5th round for the Chargers. If they feel like they want to pick him in the 4th, I actually wouldn't be upset about that because of the kind of matchup that he would have in his quarterback, Justin Herbert. So we're going to take him with our 5th round pick. And again, it's all about fit for me when it comes to the kind of wide receiver Anthony Schwartz is. I don't want Chargers fans to get confused and say, oh my God, we got the next Tyreek Hill. Nah, Tyreek Hill, man, what makes Tyreek Hill special is more than just the speed. He's got the route running, the hands. He's very good in a lot of aspects of football. Anthony Schwartz is basically a track star playing football right now. He's probably going to get better. He's more than likely going to get better in his route running, his catching. But what he offers the Chargers specifically because of how he matches up with Justin Herbert is that straight line speed. All of a sudden, he can open up things underneath him because he's going to get behind defenses more often than not. And I think that's something that Chargers need a little bit of help in. Sure, we got Jalen Guyton. Sure, we've got Tyron Johnson. And those guys are pretty solid. But the kind of speed that Anthony Schwartz is going to offer is going to be next level. So that's why I'm pretty high on him. I'd be very happy with him in the 5th round. Now, the Chargers here in the 6th round do have 2 picks. This is kind of where we start to get a little flexible once again. We've solved, again, a lot of really big holes in this team already. We've got another difference maker at wide receiver. Who do I see out here that the Chargers could maybe bolster these other positions, maybe turn a weakness into a strength? Now, there's a couple of guys right away. Simi Fehoko, man, this might end up being the pick. I'm gonna skip over that for a second. We'll come back to him in a minute. There's other guys here. Khalil Herbert. I've been hearing some Chargers fans talk about Sage Surratt, another wide receiver. Did the Chargers go 2 wide receivers in 2021 when we just did that last season? Maybe given the draft class, you have to consider it. There's also other cornerbacks I really like. Linier here from Oregon, man. I think he was actually comped. Was he the one? Maybe it was Graham that was comped to a Casey Hayward. Still, I really like this guy. Sub-package cornerback only, but again, you can't have too many corners. Tyree right here as well. 168, though. That's not going to fit our top 5 mantra right there. Simi Fehoko actually is not going to fit it either. He fell a little bit too hard. So the earliest guy we could take at this point is Puka Williams. Khalil Herbert is definitely on my radar as well. Do the Chargers feel really good about taking another running back after maybe not giving Kelly enough time to develop? I'm not too sure, man. I've heard some people say, Wild Goose is pretty nice as well. Jalen Darden has definitely been, comped to the Chargers or projected the Chargers quite a bit. We already have the safety. Jack Anderson out of Texas Tech's not a bad option either. Let me take a quick look at him. Developmental right or left guard. He would be a great depth piece in my opinion. Where is he projected to go? 200. It'd be a reach of about 15 picks. If it weren't for the rules, Simi Fioco would be the pick for me, okay? I said I would come back to it, and I'm going to come back to it. 6'4", really good speed. That kind of height is something you can supplement a Mike Williams if you decide to move on from him at some point. At this point for me, though, guys, I think I'm going to give us a little bit more cornerback depth. Lanier here is not going to fit the top 5. So I think I'm going to go with the next best guy here in Wild Goose. Again, we had to pass up on fixing that cornerback with the second round pick. Second round, we're looking at guys like, let's say, Asante Samuel, Robinson. You never know. And since we passed up on that, I think, you know, double dipping at cornerback is not a bad idea. And again, I think the trade-off in getting Penei Sewell is definitely worth it. Now here the Chargers pick number 198. We're getting into territory where I'm like, what do we want to do? The Chargers got a couple of cornerbacks. We've got the wide receiver. We've got the offensive lineman. Jack Anderson is still there, guys. I actually like that quite a bit. I think depth is going to be a huge part of the Chargers this season. The earliest guy that we could pick here would be Sage Surratt, which would be a solid pick as well, guys. All these other guys that fell, I wish I could take them, but we're going to go ahead and take Jack Anderson here, guys. Developmental guard. We don't know what's going to happen this season. Injuries are something that the Chargers need to be very conscious about, and Jack Anderson, solid depth guy. You know, I think grabbing 2 offensive linemen in the 2021 year is not a bad idea at all, even if one guy in the late round is just for depth. The Chargers need depth. The Chargers need plan Bs. The Chargers need backups. I really think at this point of the draft, that's kind of what you're looking for. These guys that are falling like crazy, probably not going to be there. Jalen Darden, Sage Surratt, Cade Johnson, you know, really good wide receiver talent. Even Lanier right here, who's falling like crazy, he would be a no-brainer, but we're trying to make it a little bit more realistic by following the within 5 rule. And then finally, the 7th round pick for the Chargers. We're going to have pick number 41, so it's going to have to be somewhere around here. I would see a lot more guys falling in the 7th round. We see that every single season. But around here, earliest guy we could take is another wide receiver. I would consider Chris Rumpf here if he wasn't one off from our little decision making here. Marquez Stevenson. Somebody in my DMs or on comments or somebody mentioned him. If we're going double wide receiver this year, I don't know if I want to do that, but honestly, just looking at him as a prospect, again, he's another one of those speedsters, burners. And if we've learned anything from successful teams in the past, you really can't have enough cornerbacks. You really can't have enough speedsters. So just for the sake of argument here, I'm going to take Marquez Stevenson out of Houston, man. Whoever you are, guys, that you know who you are if you messaged me. Thank you for putting him on my radar. I watched a little bit of his tape, and honestly, he has a lot of work to do, but he is blazing fast. Only 5'10". He's going to have a role with this team, I'm sure. 2 wide receivers may seem a little bit crazy. We didn't go after anybody this offseason, though, guys. Remember that. We did not pick up a single wide receiver in free agency, so maybe they do see speedsters like Stevenson and Anthony Schwartz in the draft that can maybe supplement what they could have gotten in the free agency. So let's go ahead and take a look at the final tally here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Let me know what you thought of this 7-round mock draft for the Chargers. Of course, the crown jewel of all of this, guys. I know we got a lot of good players on this team. We were able to get Penei Sewell. And again, I wanted to compromise. I don't think trading up with the Falcons is going to be worth it. They're going to be asking for a lot because a lot of teams would be willing to trade in for a quarterback at that spot. But at pick number 7, with wide receivers going back-to-back, Penei Sewell falling to the Lions pick, I thought, okay, this is where 100% I feel confident the Chargers must be on the phone. Please go get Penei Sewell if he starts to fall. He almost feels like he belongs with the Chargers. And again, we're not going to see a talent like Penei Sewell anytime soon. He is worth trading up for. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one, man. I know it's a lot to give up. Some Chargers fans disagree with me, but in my opinion, That is what I think. If you guys disagree, please post your thoughts in the comment section below too. Very open to discussion in that area. We were still able to get a cornerback duo of Tyson Campbell and Wild Goose as well to help us fill out that cornerback need for the Chargers. Hamza Nasirildeen, I think, would be a super underrated signing for the Chargers as well, really helping us out with that Derwin James insurance as well as safety if we needed to move Derwin James around. He plays very well at free safety as well, guys, especially in the system that Brandon Staley likes to run, playing his safeties a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. You got Derwin and Nasirildeen back there. That I cannot think of a more perfect fit, especially guys coming from the draft to run Staley's defense. Hamaka Rashid coming in edge, getting some help there for Joey Bosa. Pair of speedsters and Anthony Schwartz and Marquez Stevenson here. Kind of let them battle it out. It does kind of remind me of Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson just a little bit. And honestly, guys, two of the fastest players in this draft. Very good additions for the Chargers. And then finally, some interior offensive line depth in Jack Anderson. I'm feeling really good about this, guys. I was really worried about losing our second round pick. I'm not going to lie. I was like, what are we going to do without an Asante Samuel? Which honestly, Tyson Campbell's still very solid. You pair him up with Wild Goose. Maybe the Chargers, find some magic in that pairing. But we still do have Mike Davis. We still do have Chris Harris Jr. And honestly, in getting in Sewell, you guys know what I think. I think it's worth it 100%. Well, guys, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys thought of this mock draft. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you agree trading up for Penei Sewell? Do you disagree? Who knows? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are there, what you may have done different, what you did like. It should be a good conversation in the comment section. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up. The draft is coming up very soon, and stay frosty.